Is test anxiety getting in the way of your academic performance? Does it feel like something needs to change? We're here to help. Screen reader accessible versions of this screencast's PowerPoint slides and transcript are available for download at go.osu.edu/test anxiety. So our objectives today are to help you identify the sources of your test anxiety, learn strategies for overcoming that anxiety, and to become more aware of the resources available to you. A quick heads up before we begin. It is completely normal to have a little bit of anxiety before a test. Not feeling any stress at all might lead to being apathetic when it comes to taking your exams, whereas a little bit of stress leads to staying focused. Too much stress, however, can cause you to feel panicky or burnt out. We hope this presentation will help you identify some ways to address this unhelpful stress. Test anxiety is generally caused by one of 5 factors: the testing environment itself, generalized anxiety, not being prepared for the exam, balance and self-care issues, and negative self-talk. Throughout this screencast, we'll discuss each cause and strategies for overcoming these barriers. We'll start with cause number 1, the testing environment. Let's face it, exams aren't exactly a picnic. They're challenging, will likely be somewhat stressful, and there are a number of factors, for example, being surrounded by your peers, watching the clock, or a glaring proctor, that make them intimidating. For those watching this video, it's likely that the exam environment has already become more threatening than it ever should have been. We're most vulnerable to exam stress at the beginning of a test as we encounter difficult questions. Having a plan that takes into account the number of questions, the time allotted, and the types of questions will help smooth out this transition. Specifics on creating these exam plans can be found in other videos on the Dennis Learning Center's website. Another way to alleviate the natural stress present in the environment is to become accustomed to it. By studying in conditions similar to those of the exam, your body learns, oh, this is familiar, and the last time I was in a situation like this, I was relaxed. Using a timer while studying or studying it in a room similar to that of the exam room can help achieve this goal. Our second cause is generalized anxiety. While a little anxiety before a test is normal, it may also be part of a larger mental health concern. Mental health concerns can intensify feelings of distress before an exam. Here are some questions to ask yourself. Do you find yourself worrying about a lot of areas like school, family, relationships, and work? Does anxiety interfere with eating or sleeping, or do you feel irritable, on edge, or physically tense? Do you feel anxious more days than not? Do you find it hard to control the worry? Has this been happening for a while? If you answered yes to some of these questions, like many Buckeyes at Ohio State, you may be living with an anxiety disorder. Anxiety is the number 1 presenting concern for students who visit Counseling and Consultation service. For those students living with anxiety disorders or other mental health concerns, counseling is an effective treatment that can offer solutions. CCS offers daily drop-in workshops, individual therapy, and group therapy options that focus on anxiety. In addition to CCS, other on-campus options for counseling include the Psychological Services Center and the OSU Couples and Family Therapy Clinic. Some students also say that medication has been helpful in relieving anxiety symptoms. Medication management is available through CCS and the Will Student Health Services. If you're diagnosed with a mental health concern, you can also register with Student Life Disability Services for help with accommodations on tests and assignments. Similar to counseling, wellness coaching is a service offered through the Student Wellness Center and is free for all OSU students. Wellness coaching focuses on overall wellness, including intellectual and emotional wellness, and is a service that focuses on your strengths to promote your well-being. Our third topic has to do with preparation. One of the biggest causes of test anxiety is feeling unprepared or just genuinely being unprepared. Tests are not easy, and like anything that challenges us, we're most stressed if we don't feel up to the challenge. So what might be some of the reasons you're feeling so unprepared? Sometimes you can study a lot and still lack confidence during an exam. This is because, despite putting in the time, you didn't study using a feedback mechanism. In order to know you're strong before going into the exam, you need a feedback mechanism similar to the test that demonstrates your ability. It's also possible that you simply don't have confidence in your methods. You're still using whatever seemed to get you through the end of AP Chem, and now it just doesn't seem to be working. Finally, you might be going into a test with anxiety because you just didn't study much. It's extremely difficult to feel prepared for an exam when you put off studying until the last minute. We often gain confidence from trying and succeeding, so studying with practice questions that are similar to exam questions can give us the needed feedback that shows we are prepared. In the absence of a practice test, this might even mean creating your own questions, which turns out to be a great memorization strategy. You also may need to optimize your study methods, and that's where the Dennis Learning Center comes into play. The DLC is a center dedicated to helping equip you with modern, effective study methods. They have elective classes, workshops, and academic coaching where you can come show them exactly what you've been doing, and they can pinpoint areas that can use the most work. Next, figure out what it takes to hack your motivation. If procrastination is why you feel unprepared, well, there's way too much on the subject to fit into this video. The academic coaching service is a great way to address issues with time management since you'll have one-on-one assistance. The Dennis Learning Center's website also hosts a few videos on procrastination that can help get to the bottom of the issue. The fourth cause is a lack of balance and self-care. While it may be tempting to do nothing but study as you prepare for your exam, it's important to take a holistic approach to preparation. Physical and emotional well-being are just as important as learning the material when it comes to performing on the day of the test. Marathon study sessions and caffeine-fueled all-nighters, skipping self-care activities, and withdrawing from friends can leave you feeling frazzled and out of balance. If this sounds like your preparation style, it may be time to change things up. Make sure to eat healthy foods and avoid alcohol and any drugs in the time leading up to your exam. Get enough sleep and avoid pulling all-nighters. Sleep is key for memory consolidation, and we don't perform at our best when we're sleepy. Take breaks from studying and give your brain time to absorb the material. Use those breaks to engage in enjoyable activities and spend time with positive social supports. It's also important to set yourself up for success on the day of the exam. Know that anxiety can be contagious. If being around classmates before the exam is stressing you out, step away from the situation. Plan to arrive early to the exam with all the necessary materials to give yourself time to practice relaxation techniques. Helpful strategies for dealing with anxiety include deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, and guided imagery. While we don't have time in today's screencast to review deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, and guided imagery, the free OSUCCS App can help you learn and practice these techniques. You can download it now and start practicing today. In addition to the wellness coaching we mentioned before, the Student Wellness Center offers other services like nutrition coaching and financial coaching if there are other areas in your life where you're feeling out of balance. The final topic is negative self-talk. Self-talk is what we say to ourselves in our heads. It's made up of our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and it's something we all do. A lot of the time, what we're saying to ourselves is pretty boring, like, where did I put my buck ID, or what am I having for lunch today? But sometimes the way we talk to ourselves can be pretty harsh and negative. I'll never pass that test. I'm a failure. I'm stupid. If we say these things to ourselves often enough, it can start to become a habit. What we think has a tremendous impact on how we feel. If you walk into a test thinking, I'm going to fail this, you're going to feel scared and anxious. Breaking out of these negative self-talk habits can help if you're experiencing test anxiety. Maybe you say to yourself, if I don't pass this test, I'll have to drop out of college. This is an example of catastrophizing, where you're predicting that the worst possible outcome is going to come true. Or maybe you're saying to yourself, if I don't ace this exam, I have failed. This is an example of black or white or all or nothing thinking where there is no middle ground. Things are either awesome or they're terrible. Another example is using always or never statements like, I always fail my exams. This is called overgeneralizing since there are very few absolutes in life. Recognizing when negative self-talk is happening is the first step in challenging it. When you're coming up against negative self-talk, ask yourself, how likely is it that the statement is true? And examine the evidence that supports and refutes it. How likely is it that you will have to drop out of college if you don't pass a test? One alternative to the catastrophizing statement is, if I don't pass this test, I'll have to talk with the TA to see where I got off track so that I know what to work on for upcoming exams. Just like there is negative self-talk, there's also positive self-talk. What would a trusted friend or mentor say to encourage you? If a friend came to you with these same concerns, what would you say to them? Remember when we talked about being out of balance and avoiding your supports? Well, talking with a friend about your worries could be an important reality check on whether you're being too hard on yourself. And remember, an important fact that you can throw back at negative statements is that you prepared for this test, and if you relax and do your best, it is likely you will succeed. While we've covered a lot of the resources that are available to you so far, we also recommend that you check out these 2 additional resources to continue your learning. First, YouTuber Thomas Frank has an excellent video on test anxiety that's definitely worth watching. Second, you can download the PowerPoint slides and transcript for this screencast by visiting go.osu.edu/testanxiety. Please feel free to contact the Office of Student Life Disability Services, Counseling and Consultation Service, or the Dennis Learning Center for more information. Thanks for watching and happy studying.